how to train influencers on community. Also, WhatsApp is better for creator community or Discord. So I think influencer coaching is like kind of a huge, massive technology in itself.
WhatsApp or Discord? The answer is WhatsApp. Why? Because the engagement is higher. Does that mean that you shouldn't do both? No. It is entirely, Discord is a longer play strategy, but WhatsApp has higher engagement. Because why? Because it looks like a text message on your phone and people check it because it has an annoying notification. And in doing so, it makes it so that they're more in communication with you, which is why people use WhatsApp. More engagement.
Let's get started with the slide. So first, I want to go over the agenda. The first part, we're going to go over what happens within the first 30 days of TikTok Shop. This is the foundation. Then we're going to go over what happens in month number 2, affiliate systems build out. Then the third section is day 61 to 90, where we get 100 plus videos in viral momentum. Now, this is not theory. This is not something that we read. This is after running over 100 TikTok shops, and most of them starting them from zero. This is what we finally cracked, right? The code. Then number 4, we're going to go over story time, real clients case studies that we have managed. Then I'm going to speak a few minutes. If you decide that there is no way you can do this yourself after learning everything that we're going to show you, and you don't have the time or the team to do it, I will go over our scope of work. We are an agency. We're a TikTok Shop partner agency. So if you decide that you want to learn more about how we can help you grow, I'll spend a few minutes going over our scope of work. And then after that, the live Q&A, we will be answering any questions that you may have. So who is Bullseye Sellers? We're marketplace experts obsessed with growing your brand. We're managing over 150 brands, including 70 of those are on TikTok Shop. A lot of those we manage their Amazon as well as TikTok as well as D2C. We're an official TSP TikTok Shop partner and one of the fastest growing TikTok Shop agencies in the United States. Those are some of the clients that we're working with. By the way, we will be sending you the slides along with the replay video if you guys want to look into the slides more in detail. All right, so I'll spend a couple of minutes going over some of our sponsors. Celico. Celico's Launchpad is your cold start killer for TikTok Shop and marketplace launches. It removes the hardest bottleneck sellers face, zero data, zero affiliates, zero momentum by injecting compliant early demand. If you are starting on TikTok Shop, you definitely want to use Celico. We use it on every single account that we manage. It helps shorten the initial runway. And then Kruva, formerly known as Optic, is an AI-powered platform for TikTok Shop brands like Sachu, Pixie Beauty, Seek Supply, and etc. that handles the heavy lifting of scaling on TikTok Shop by finding quality creators. This is a creators tool, right? You find quality creators, automating outreach and onboarding, showing you which affiliates are driving sales for your competitors and in your industry, turn your top affiliates into long-term affiliate partners, and it saves brands 30 plus hours a week on work that normally bogs down teams. We also use this on our accounts. It would be impossible to reach out to tens of thousands of creators manually without using a software like Kruva. So Kruva is a great tool to use. All right, so before I hand it over to Michael and Eric, I want to do a quick introduction. So Michael started selling on Amazon since 2013. I don't know anyone who started selling on Amazon before Michael, and he scaled his own multiple brands to 8 figures. He's currently managing millions of dollars on TikTok Shop, and he's an expert in making viral accounts. And then Eric, who will also be speaking here today, he started selling in 2016. He owned multiple brands, which exited in 2020. He helped brands generate over $75 million on Amazon and generated over 1.3 million just last month. We have different teams here at Bullseye Sellers, and Eric was the biggest one, the one who sold the most, $1.3 million in just 1 month on TikTok alone, not to mention the spillover effect to Amazon, Shopify, etc. All right, without further ado, we're going to go over phase 1. So Michael and Eric, you can take over from here.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the warm welcome.
My pleasure.
Let me go ahead and share my screen.
Thanks, Ernesto.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we do.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to be doing the ground roots, the basics, the fundamentals, and then we're going to get into some spicy stuff in phase 2 and phase 3. So let's get into it. So opening a new TikTok shop. This is kind of boring, but it's something that everybody needs to do. The one thing that when requiring the business verification, they require a specific document. It's called a CP 575. And what that basically is, it's your EIN confirmation letter. This is the one that they want to match, want to make sure that the address matches, the name matches, and that's what they typically use for your verification. You'll then go through some personal verification, which a credit card statement or a bill will suffice. It's pretty straightforward, and it has gotten easier since I started doing this. I've been doing this for about a year and a half, and this used to be much more complex than it is today. They've streamlined this process. So again, if you need help, we're here to help, but it is pretty straightforward if you follow what is on the screen. Awesome. When adding your listings, which is the next part, there's a few ways to do it. You can do it by syncing your software from Amazon. So some businesses are everything Amazon, fulfilled from Amazon. They fulfill their Shopify, they fulfill their TikTok. And the apps that we recommend is Webby, Silk, Aftership. I know Michael likes the Webby. I personally like the Silk, but honestly, it's a preference. Now, talking about syncing software from Shopify, I like Silk. The TikTok Shop app is okay, but out of 1 to 10, I give it a 5. And so I personally don't think you should use software when the platform itself is already having issues with support, because it means that their app support is going to be pretty bad. So I recommend using something like Silk. And the third way you can do it is manually. Manually is okay, but keep in mind, however you add the products, it stays that way for the lifetime of the product. It's connected to that product ID. So we're talking about videos, reviews, account health, everything is connected to that. So it's very important that you do it kind of thinking in the future, think long term, because this is going to be, you want to plan as if you're going to be crushing it in the next year. You don't want to have to be like, well, in the future, I wish I would have done this. This is the time to kind of think it through and kind of figure out how you want to do it. And these are the apps that we recommend in the 3 ways. Okay, account setup best practices. So one of the first things you need to do is you need to link your TikTok creator account. Everybody on TikTok has a creator account, and the only thing difference between a shop and a regular creator is that the shop has been connected to the creator account. You want to add your trademark. This helps us protect your brand as well as you protect your brand, and it is best practices and one of the first things that you should do. Category approval. Now this is very important. If you try to do a hack, like you try to do it like a category hack, it's probably could work for a little bit, and then your listing could get taken down for incorrect category or something to that effect. It's best to get it approved at the time when you're listing the products, because everything is about momentum. TikTok is a momentum play, so it's very important that you do all the things necessary before you start giving away samples, because that's when the money starts leaving the pocket, and that's where it gets expensive. The next thing, flash deal setup. What are we talking about? We're talking about your margins. We're talking about profitability. So there's 2 ways you can do a flash deal setup. You can do above or you can do below. It really depends on your preference. Now, what does that mean? That means that so the flash deal is a minimum of 11%. So sometimes what I can do is I'll raise the price 11% and then make it come down 11% to give the impression of a sale. And what we do to make it extra spicy is we do them hourly, because that hourly creates urgency. It makes it feel like if they don't buy now, they might miss the opportunity. So you can go 11% below or 11% above, and this is all done with some tricks. And that is definitely something to be very important. It's all based on margin and how you plan it with your account manager or the person running your team. Subscribe and save discounts. Now, TikTok just launched this a few months ago, but as we know from Amazon and other platforms, subscribe and save is the bread and butter for consumables, and it is exploding on TikTok. I have brands that already have thousands of subscribe and saves, and it'll make it so that supplement brands and other categories like beauty and otherwise will be profitable, and it'll make it so the brands will be profitable in 2026 and beyond. Optimizing your listings. So optimize your listings for the consumer, because what is a creator but a consumer with a video camera? So you want to optimize for them, because the first person you have to sell is the creator themselves. Right now, sophisticated isn't as sophisticated as Amazon. You don't need to keyword stuff. You want to make it so it's legible, it talks about what's in the product, and you want to be to the point. Hero image. Hero image on Amazon has some rules, like you can only use a white background, you can't do this, you can't do that. TikTok, you can get away with a lot. And there's a lot of some of those 2016 tricks from Amazon where you say stuff like bestseller or highest rated on Amazon. And honestly, the whole game is see what you can get away with. So you could do all kinds of tricks with the hero image. So I highly recommend exploring that and playing with that because it very likely could improve your click-through rate and your performance. Optimize images. So when you're doing your image stack, you're telling a story. A story is something that requires 1 point per image because if you do too much, what happens is the point gets muddied and they don't get the point. And so by doing it for one slide, it also makes it easier for the creator to chop it and maybe put it in a video. So it's good for the consumers and good for the creators. Awesome. I'm just going to jump out there. What is a cold start? Now, this doesn't apply to everybody, but honestly, this is something that I wanted to talk about today because I think it adds a lot of value because a lot of people aren't even on TikTok. So what is a cold start? It means you have limited outreach. They gave you 1,000 messages and they said, good luck, which it's truly impossible to get off the ground with 1,000 messages. The problem is you typically get a 3% sample approval rate, which means that you send out 1,000 messages, you get 30 approved, and out of them, there's maybe only 20% that you want to work with, which comes out to about 6 creators. How can you scale with that? It's truly impossible. The other thing is the probationary period. We're not going to dive in that too much today, but what I am going to dive into is I'm going to help you explode your outreach. So let's go ahead and get into that. Awesome. So this is what it looks like, okay? So right here, this brand is doing $132,000. One thing to be aware of is it's based on a 30-day GMV that updates on Sunday. So that's very important. The other thing that I really want you to know is that it is based on an affiliate video. You can't just have your friend go buy from your shop. You can't buy yourself. It needs to be from an affiliate video. And that is something, a common mistake that people can make. And so in the beginning, when you are a cold start, you are at $0 and you have that 1,000 starter pack, which you get 6 samples. It's truly impossible. So how do you get beyond this? And honestly, the answer is the best kept secret on TikTok. But before I get into that, let me just back up 1 second. So here are the tiers. And so the way that the tiers work is that when you have a sale up to $2,000, it's going to unlock 2,000 messages per week. Once you exceed $2,000 up to $50,000, you will then have 7,000 outreaches per week. And once you're above 50,000, like as you can see with this example, you are unlimited. That is when you can scale. That's when magic happens. So you need to travel through these tiers as quickly as possible. And to do that, I recommend the best kept secret on TikTok, which is Celico TikTok Shop Launchpad. Now, I use this every time when I'm launching a new brand. And what I do is I go on here, I put in the product name, listing URL. Would you like shoppers to buy from an affiliate video? The answer is yes. And they have the option or ability to make an affiliate video for you so that you don't even have to send out the 1,000 messages to get those 6 videos. You can literally just start from the beginning and just get a video made and start getting sales happening immediately. But it's better than just that. It's better than unlocking just your outreach. You also get a 40 to 60% review rate, which helps conversion, and it's also TikTok compliant. I think that in itself is fire. So I highly recommend anybody that is in this position to take advantage of this because this is the difference from you having a 3-month launch to being where you want to be in 30 days. Awesome. Now, this is the slide that I think is worth talking about, which is if you are a 10 million seller, call me after this. We'll get you whitelisted. None of this applies to you, and we can go 0 to 100 immediately. So that is the end of my slide. I'm going to leave this to Mike, and I'll see you guys in the Q&A.
All right, thanks, Eric. That was very, very helpful and useful information for a lot of new shops out there. A lot of what I definitely always stress is that first initial cold start probation period. And actually, TikTok talks about it as a huge barrier to success of getting a shop off the ground in probation. Essentially, you can't talk to a lot of affiliates. You're not going to have a lot of marketing capabilities. So your shop's sort of locked down. I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to share my screen, talking about the actual affiliate engine build. And here Here we go. Hopefully everybody can see my screen. Ernesto's, let me know if you can't.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, so affiliate engine build, and a lot of what we do is definitely going to be geared toward using affiliates to sell your product. So once your shop's set up, your next phase is going to be phase 2, and this is where this can range from anywhere from 30 days to 6 weeks after your shop set up, depending on how complex the shop setup was and how complex the category approval and how documented you are in your company. But this is where you're going to try to get to this phase as fast as possible and getting affiliates working with your product. And I'm going to cover a couple of strategies, and this is where you can get, there's a million ways to skin a cat and a million strategies that go into affiliate outreach. Even me and Eric have completely different strategies and what we've been successful with for how we get affiliates to work with us and what we say and what we do. I'm going to go over a couple of basic tiers of affiliates, but you have L1 through L5. L1 being the lowest and L5 being the highest. So an L5 creator is going to be $150,000 a month in monthly GMV that they generate for brands, and L1 could be, a $5 to $100. It's basically around a zero. So, and L5s, like L4 and L5s, typically don't work with cold starts because their time is very limited. They're very selective with their product. They want to make as much commission as possible. So this is where you're going to go high volume with L1 and L2. And so you want to get right into the grinder on doing outreach. And this is where you'd use a program like Kruva, and then there's several other ones, but we use Kruva. It's very simple, very good UI, very user-friendly to use. And this is where you can start building creator outreach in the L1 and L2 for a cold start. A lot of the beginning creators, you need a lot of coaching. So this is going to be really getting into creating affiliate briefs. Now, when you're approving or working with an L1, L2, remember that these are not experienced affiliates. So these are guys that are probably new on the program. They have no idea how to make a viral video. They have no idea. They're just kind of taking products and making videos. And sometimes they're just no lighting, no thought whatsoever. They're just trying to see what works. So in the end, the best way to do anything is coach them, right? So a lot of good briefs, a lot of good coaching. What we even try to do is pull them off and get their phone number, pull them off into WhatsApp and do some one-on-one coaching with L1s and L2s and even L3s. And our brief is like a lot of what we're doing with our brief is we want to know who the product's for. We want good 3 to 5 talking points. So we want several ways to present the product, what not to say, some do's and don'ts, content angles, use, demo, lifestyle, and call to action, right? So we want the buy now, here's a little link, shop, etc., right? So a lot of affiliates don't do a good job of doing that, especially L1s and L2s and a lot of even L3s. So we definitely want a really good brief on directing them sort of like a filming director for a movie or a TV show, right? They need a coach, they need a director. And when you can do that, and you can give them ideas that's when you'll get quality videos being made. And in the end, like a lot of these affiliates will not answer you. They'll try to avoid you. They just start trying to get a free product and make a quick video, right? But a little bit of direction makes the world's difference. But the thing is, the direction is a lot of coaching and a lot of work. So a lot of sellers get really backed off from doing that. But the more systems you can make to get very good coaching, the better quality videos. And I'll always say that TikTok is a disruptive and interruption marketing platform. So you are literally interrupting people in their scroll on TikTok. So when you want to make brief, you're thinking about that first 2 seconds, right? You're thinking about that next 6 seconds. So you want your affiliates thinking about that too. In the end, that's how we get content to get millions of views, is that little first impactful message. And then this is funny. TikTok is a full circle. Everything connects to each other. Eric's setup process that he talked about is very tying into how you're going to do a paid collab strategy. How set up your account is how well you're going to do in marketing. Now, unlike any other platform like Amazon, Shopify, etc., your performance on TikTok is tied to how good you did your setups and how if you're out of probation. If you are out of probation and your account is free and clear and greenlit to work, you can get content from, let's say, an L4 and L5. Now, let's say I had to hire a cold start, like a brand new TikToker shop, and I pay $1,000 to an L4 or L5 creator. They probably won't go viral. The reason is because your shop is suppressed and in probation. TikTok says, hey, you haven't proven that you can ship out orders yet. You haven't proven yourself. Why would I send your video out to 1 million people when you could just be getting a bunch of orders that you can't even ship out? That would look bad on me, right? And that's how they're thinking. So they want a greenlit. So I say, like, there is a time and a place for paid collab. Now, early on, you can do one, and don't get me wrong, they are useful. But if you're in probation, a video that might have gotten 1 million views would only get 1,000 views in probation. It's very common that happens. So this is where you can, and here's the tiers for L1 through L5 creators. This is something you want to keep in mind. And these are new starting affiliates. They work with new starting shops, right? So you're not going to just get L4s and L5s, right? So, or even L3s. You'll get some, they'll pepper in there, but you want volume focused. You want to get the videos out. You want TikTok you want to show TikTok you're getting the affiliate videos out, especially with L1, L2 creators. You want consistent posters. You want brief adherence, right? You want if you can, after a certain stage, I'll cover this in a little bit, but it gets a little easier to get 4 and 5 creators. And I'll tell you a couple strategies that you can use to get that. So you want follow-up and enforcing briefs. So this is where you want a really good, this is where Kruva comes in. Kruva is essentially a CRM, right? It's a manager for your affiliate. You can make follow-up systems. You can make follow-up on people that have posted, not posted, pending content. You can send 30 messages to your affiliates, continuously sending messages to keep nudging them to follow your brief. If they didn't make any sales, most likely it's because they didn't follow your brief. Let's send a message. Hey, I saw you posted a video, but it didn't follow the brief and you didn't make any sales. I would like you to try this video now, right? So this is where you want a good CRM, because it's impossible to manage 1,000 affiliates or 500 or even 100 affiliates without a good CRM. So you want to constantly monitor your posted videos. Let's see what they made. Let's see if they followed the brief. And a lot of the times we're pulling these guys off into WhatsApp or Discord on the bottom. You can see that because we want to praise when they follow the brief. And generally, by the way, when they actually do follow the brief, we get a lot more views. They get a lot more views and they get more commission. So then we want to also get people out that are just kind of trolling or just there for free samples if they're invited into our group. So you want really good structure, really clean groups. So a lot of our WhatsApp or Discord groups are very well structured. And we definitely want to segment who's who, and not just to have it crowded with a bunch of other people. But you want that instant gratification, that instant messaging. So a lot of WhatsApp, you have their phone number. You can even call them, especially when they go viral. You could definitely want to give them a phone call and say, "Wow, I saw your video. I'm blah from blah brand, and it's amazing what you did. I loved your video. I'm watching it. I watch it every day." And you know what? We have a little, we usually do a contest. We give them some kind of prize or some kind of, tier winnings, extra commission for doing such a good job. And they usually ask for it anyway. They want a little pat on the back for doing a good job and making you, $50,000 to $100,000 in GMV. They deserve it. And a couple of grand off your back for making you that much money is definitely not much, especially when you want them to post 10 more videos. And every single video they post makes more sales. You want to develop. That's where your relationship skills come in. How good are you at maintaining good relationships with these viral affiliates? So this is where a lot of, you're working on all these strategies in these days. What Eric's phase of getting the shop set up, that's day 1 through 30, possibly even longer, right? And then you're literally just building the foundation of the affiliates in day 60 and even up to day 90, right? On day 90, what you're hoping for is an actual out of probation and into a shop score and into there's 4 different tiers of probation. There's beginner, standard, premium, and pro. So you want to be in the standard or premium, which means you want more of a green light to actually go viral, right? Because at this point, while your shop still doesn't have a shop score, still in probation, and a shop score is going to be what TikTok's going to assign you of how good of a seller you are. And it goes up to 5. So it's a little bit like L1 through 5, but in this case, shop score. And without a good shop score of at least, the beginning shop score is 3.5, you want about 4, which 4 makes the shop scalable. And once you have some establishment, this means that you've gotten some sales. Celico really helps that get you out of that no shop score / probationary period. And this is where marketing doesn't work unless you have a shop score and you have all those logistics ironed out, right? So TikTok won't market you unless you have administration worked out. So it's about shipping speed, cancellation rate, refund rate, customer response time, refund response time. These are all the parts to manage on an hourly basis in TikTok. And if you don't have staff to set up to manage all of these things, you will never go viral. You will never, it's the odds are completely against you for any one of those things happen. So you have to log into a TikTok shop at least several times a day, monitor every aspect of its performance to see if it's going to work out, right? right? And see if you can get a clean green lit shop after a few months. And about on day 90, your shop will be green lit. And now you can start scaling and now you can start working in the actual market. But until the actual marketing, this administrative and logistics side is done, you're just kind of waiting for that to happen. And then you can begin your real market campaigns. Now, once that's done on day 90, let's say all that happened on day 90, now you go into scale mode. And this is where you are doing affiliate output and an algorithmic flywheel. So you are turning out briefs that work. So let's say also, you want to do some A/B testing. Let's say you made a brief, you did some market research, but it didn't work. You want to do a new brief at this point because obviously your first brief is not getting any traction. So now make new talking points for your affiliates, right? And that's going to be now retesting some things on day 90. So now you're also scaling because by this point, you have enough sales to get 100 videos per week, right? And now this is at the phase where I start doing like L4 and L5. It's called auto approvals. So when the shop's greenlit to go viral, I typically do auto approvals to get L4 and L5s in their inbox saying, hey, if you opt in for my service, I'm going to auto approve your sample request. You get a higher opt-in rate that way. And that way L4 and L5 creators will actually be happy to work with me. And now they actually will want to because it's really easy to just press a button to say, okay, especially if the product's really cool. And so we definitely want to, now we're going to go on to a higher L4, L5. We're going to do more nudges. There's more CRM build out by this point as well too. So there's more consistent quality posting. And this is a little overview of everything, right? So you have by day 30, shop approved, listings optimized, first affiliates posting. By day 60, consistent daily videos and an active affiliate group. By day 90, now you have a shop score. Now you're scaling up to 100 videos per week. And now you're going to start getting your L4 and L5s live. So in the next, probably by day 100, you might have a few L4 and L5s in there. And then now you're going to work on scaling everything you just did times 3 or 4. And here's the last little truth is TikTok success is not just one viral video, one big creator, or one big product. It's systems, compliance, volume, and relationships. And that's one thing that's very unique is it's not just like you throw a product in the market. This is a very systemized approach. And TikTok may seem extremely complex to a new person. It gets simpler over time as you learn each part of it, but there are about 50 moving parts you have to monitor daily of a TikTok shop in order to get it greenlit to go viral, right? Or to get high sales and success. These are essential platforms that streamline operations and amplify. So Celico and Pruva, we covered why you need those. And I'm gonna have Ernesto take the next slide over for our actual case studies of people that we've done these programs and systems for.
Thank you.
Take it away, Ernesto.
Thank you, Michael.
Hey, Ernesto, if you mind if I add something to that, if you don't mind?
Please, we got time.
Awesome. First of all, I thought that was really well put, Michael. One thing that I wanted to add to that is that we have been doing this for almost, I call it 2 Prospers ago, which is almost 2 years ago. It was the 2-year TikTok shop anniversary in September. So we've pretty much been there since the beginning. And in doing so, this has allowed us to create relationships with creators in many categories and work with them and create those relationships that make it so you can jump on the phone, you can get them to test different hooks, and you can work with them to help brands go viral. And that is something that we have worked really hard to create. And it's probably the hardest thing to do on TikTok Shop. My saying that I always tell people is that you are only as strong as your creators.
Another point to add, by the way, on top of that is when you're starting off on your own, remember you're starting with 0 creators, right? So you're starting from the ground floor, you have 0 people. And that's why TikTok recommends an agency, is because an agency already has the creators that we've cultivated over 2 years, right? So we have a lot of creators that cross over that we just have a relationship with as an agent. So that's very hard to build a community from scratch. Like it might take you a year or 2. So even if you wanted to work on it, it might take you 2 years. You start with an agency that already has the infrastructure, start working toward that 90-day point where I always say, like, you really start TikTok after 90 days. Like at the beginning, it's all just administrative and logistics stuff. And as much as we've had, and Ernesto will cover these case studies, we have unicorns that have gone viral within the 90 days, but it's actually more rare. More often than not, most people are several more months out because the 90-day is more commonly the starting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'll share some case studies and then we'll go over to our Q&A.
Caroline, we'll get to the Q&As here in just a minute. We're just going to go through some case studies and then we'll circle back to that question. But it's a good question.
All right. Can you see my screen? Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to go over 5 case studies. We've worked with over 100 brands. Here are just the average case study. So which varies a lot, and you're going to see this is a toy brand. We started for 9 months. Look at how flat it was, okay, for the first few months, 9 months, and then 2,142 videos, and then all of a sudden it popped, okay? Now we're at $86,000 in monthly GMV, 3x ads spend, right? You don't know if video number 40 or video number 400 or video number 1200 is the one that's going to pop. This is another example. So this is a greeting card. So 5 months to scale, over 3,000 videos. All right. And then all of a sudden, boom, it took off. Now we're selling $300,000 per month. And the best part, zero ad spend, 100% organic. We use ad spend, we use the GMV max to scale, but then sometimes some products just take off organically. This is a unicorn case study. This is a bath accessory. It took 3 months to scale, and we got it up to $1 million per month in GMV after 13,000 videos. What happens once you break $100,000 per month in sales? Dozens, hundreds of creators start coming to you. So it's a lot easier to send out samples. And then we have a scheme.
If you go back just to that one slide, just to add a little bit of an anecdote for everybody watching. So if you see that little spike back there in February, that was a viral video. That was our first viral video. Sold 450 units in 30 minutes. It was very exciting. But you're not going to believe it. We ran out of stock. And so it took us a few months to recoup and to start building that again. But TikTok is different than Amazon. So a good video is always going to be a good video. And what it makes it possible to do is start to scale, because once you have a good video, there will be 27 iterations of the same hook and people starting to do the same stuff. So as soon as we went live again, it instantly was a viral success.
Thank you, Eric. Here's another unicorn case study. It took 2 months to scale. This one took off right away, up to $300,000 in monthly sales, 1,653 videos, 6x ad spend. So this one, we are running ads, but at a very, very profitable level. All right, so now let's go into the live Q&A with Michael and Eric.
Yeah, I just want to cover one quick point, and this is a point that we touched upon: product choice. So, and then even though we didn't get too much into it, like we obviously went through how to set up a shop and how to get the marketing going. This is how you want to think of it for the guys attending: is what product is a good choice for TikTok? You want a product that can visually tell a story because of what the product is in itself. So it's more difficult for products that rely on an affiliate to just make a script or tell a story. It's difficult. It's a longer runway. It's not that it can't be done, but if I think of like a lightsaber on TikTok Shop, which is visual, you could do it in the dark, it's cool. And then I were to think of a magnesium capsule, right? It's like literally one, like, is the presentation of a magnesium capsule for an affiliate is kind of a little generic and boring. But a lightsaber is bright, it's shiny, it glows in the dark, and it moves around, and it's visual, right? So one is more interrupted than the other one. So naturally, if you have a product that might interrupt a bit more, or its message might interrupt a bit more, generally you could see faster tracks on TikTok. In some cases, it's obviously there's unicorn situations, but generally.
Let me add something to that, Michael. I thought that was fantastic. When it comes to picking your product, be aware that the people buying your products are creators themselves. So the first person you have to sell is the creator. And so if you're on Cruva and you're sending out samples, there is a sample approval rate. Now, this is kind of an indicator of the interest of the product. And so, for example, let's say your sample approval rate is less than 3%. I consider 3% to be okay, but let's say it was less than 1%. This would kind of be an indicator that this product might not be something that they're interested in. And if you're going against the grain, it does kind of have a going against the grain kind of performance, and it's something to be aware of. Sometimes your bestseller on Amazon isn't your bestseller on TikTok.
Exactly. Yeah, it's funny. I actually had a couple case scenarios where someone actually had their bestseller on Amazon because it was a perfect like intent product, because Amazon's an intent platform where you go there to buy that exact product, where TikTok is not. TikTok's interrupting. But I've had sellers where like their 19th bestseller, like the one they would never think about, would end up being their most viral product on TikTok, even though they never really ordered a lot of it, they never really stocked it. But it was not good for Amazon, but the best fit for TikTok. Happens all the time.
Absolutely. There's another quote here. It says average ad spend. Great question. Now, I'll go ahead and answer this from what I've seen. In the beginning, your ad spend is going to be higher. I would look at it similar to a launch on. You very likely could be as high as 50 to 60% ad spend versus gross sales. And this is something sometimes what it takes to get traction, because what kind of alleviate ad spend versus gross sales is virality. And virality can be broken up by likes, comments, and shares. And in the beginning, you have any videos or good videos, and you don't have any traction. So we're trying to create that. And in the beginning, we're kind of forcing it. But as you start to get success and better videos, to create those relationships, I have seen it get as low as 10%, which is an extreme case. And there was one instance where we did it with no ad spend, which was at a unicorn that was shown in there. But typically,
we have two. We have two unicorns in there. 2 0 ad spends that are viral. Well,
yeah.
Inventory, by the way, when you're viral is a big issue. Like it's really hard for manufacturing to keep up. So why turn on the ads when you're already overselling? That's actually a common scenario for TikTok.
Yeah, but what I shoot for, just as a rule of thumb, I try to get to a 20% ad spend versus gross sales.
So I have a slightly different strategy. I think that, and mine's a bit more complex, I think, but my strategy for ad spend is, if you're in probation, use ads to help you get out along with selling, right? So, and the way that ads work on GMV Max is like, there's going to be a terrible return usually in the beginning. Like, to Eric's point, he's right. Like, it's going to be a 0.5 or 1 ROAS, but you don't care. You're using it to catapult your account out of probation, and you're using ads to buy your way out. That's one case scenario to use ads. Another case scenario to use ads is when you already have virality, you turn the ads on for a booster, right? Because the TikTok ads, the way they work is they are theoretically a booster. They just add fuel and rocket fuel to the existing fire that is virality or semi-viral. So those are the two ways we use them. So I typically will even have ads off for a while until I see some organic traction. Like, for instance, if you're an advertiser on another social media platform like Meta, and you had an untested, untried creative that you're putting on a Facebook ad or an Instagram ad, you wouldn't dump $100 a day into it, right? You want it tested first. And that's what TikTok's doing, is they're actually testing it against organic, and then you turn it on. So I want to think about ads in that way, but there's a million ways to skin a cat, and all are technically correct in their own way.
Absolutely. Nami asked a question. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. It said AI generated videos can be used instead of live influencers. Now, I'm just going to speak candidly from my own experience. I think that you have to take it on a case-by-case basis when it comes to AI videos. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, but typically the videos that have the most success are the ones that were unscripted, that something kind of occurred while they were doing it, and it kind of created some sort of amazing something, and they strategically found the hook, and it was the character or person in the video that kind of generated. I don't believe right now, as of January 26th, that AI is at a point to take over creators completely. I think that the good creators will tend to be better than AI, but I don't want to be naive and say that it's not up and coming. But I think as of right now, definitely having good creators is the way I would go.
We have a great question from Meggie: how to train influencers on community. Also, WhatsApp is better for creator community or Discord. So how to train influencers. I think influencer coaching is kind of a huge, massive technology in itself that could probably take a 2-part webinar, but I think we should just give her a short answer.
I got something for her. So WhatsApp or Discord? The answer is WhatsApp. Why? Because the engagement is higher. Does that mean that you shouldn't do both? No. It is entirely Discord is a longer play strategy, but WhatsApp has higher engagement. Because why? Because it looks like a text message on your phone, and people check it because it has an annoying notification, and in doing so, it makes it so that they're more in communication with you, which is why people use WhatsApp. More engagement. Now, when it comes to influencer training, so what is an influencer? It is basically a salesperson. So your job is to look at the content in your brand, look at it in the market, put it together in a way that makes sense, that shows that what is working for this type of product, and maybe it's yours or maybe it's competitors, and put that together in a hook, which is basically a reason why somebody watched the video and stuck around longer than 2 seconds. And we essentially give that to the creator as something that they can test.
There you go. That's a good answer. I actually am in complete agreement with Eric on that one. That's a very good answer. I'm going to take this one, the approximate investment for free samples and ads for an average product. I'd say it's completely variable. I'd say it's like any marketing campaign, you have to continue to do it and A/B test until you hit some form of win, right? So, or you find an angle that works. I'd say like a base would be 300 samples. That's like a good starting point for you to predict, but I would definitely say that's the start. And anything past that is going to be continuous testing on new angles.
I see a question here that I forgot to answer, which was Caroline. She said, if you were completely raw, like brand new, do you need content before reaching out to affiliates? And I'm assuming we're talking about branded content, which is basically your own content as a creator. And my strategy on TikTok is always more. So if while we're working together, I can get you to go live every day and post content, that makes my life so much easier. I've noticed that the traction of your branded account will typically coincide with the affiliate content. And when you start to get some huge success, like last month we did 1 million. I think that the third highest creator was the brand itself. And so I think that they do coincide. And so I highly recommend you doing content and lives as well.
Well, what I was saying in chat is that you don't need the branded content to get started. And that's why I don't want people to think that you have to go in and create 100 videos to get started. You do not. But yes, you want to add that in and pepper those in, just like Eric said.
Yeah,
Honestly,
exactly.
it's a good idea to add those. And if you're not geared up to like afford a filming studio and all the setup to make your own branded videos, wait until your affiliates get you more money. Honestly, like if you're seeing affiliate, if a shopper sees affiliate from affiliate versus the brand, affiliates typically are easier, less resistance to sell the product than the brand itself. There's just less resistance overall. But at the same time, there are a lot of sales on the table from the branded, from the actual marketing posting account. So, when you can, one of our top accounts actually has 3 videos. Like that's it. So proof of the pudding.
Yeah,
and
definitely not
required.
required.
Go viral too, by the way. Yeah, not required. We have our shop score dropped to 3.3. We're doing a sell-through campaign. For shop score questions, it depends on why your shop score dropped. If you are late on shipments, but you've optimized your shipping methods now and you're actually having shipments arrive on time, then yeah, do a sell-through. If you are not answering customer service messages on time, figure that out first and maybe like systemize your customer service with TikTok Shop. If you're not responding to refunds, there's like 6 different reasons why your shop score would have dropped that low. And if it's a combination of logistics and customer service, you have to actually look at the shop score and find out what you're doing wrong. Like you're not actually keeping up with TikTok's orders, customer service, etc. Someplace it'll tell you what you're doing wrong. So I would look at that first. Sellico may help you though if it is an actual review problem or if you're just not having orders arrive on time and now you fix that.
Yeah, there's six metrics that hurt your shop score, and if you slide the sliding scale with your shop performance score, it'll show you what you're gaining and losing in the sense of visibility, and it gives you a lot of idea how important it is. And if you click into the one that you have offended or violated, it will show you the exact orders, and as well as it'll show you when they're rolling off as well.
There you go.
Yeah, and
a banned account.
Sorry, I was just kind of, Nate brought up this shop score problem, and this is a big thing for sellers that are not an FBT because you don't have automated refunds unless you're an FBT. FBT kind of gets rid of a lot of the potential shop score issues. It doesn't eliminate all of it, but it gets rid of a lot of it. So if you're on a waiting list for FBT, I recommend hiring an agency that has an FBT contact. I'm just going to be honest with you. Agencies have an edge on that.
Every account that we onboard gets FBT approval day one. So, but we've never had a non-approval issue. So unless you're like some hazmat flammable product or something, it's going to blow up, or you sell propane, then you should be good for FBT.
One thing to tackle on there about the FBT, which is the probably the most common offense, is on-time delivery time. And if TikTok, if FBT is late, it's on them and it doesn't affect your score.
I hope that answers your last question, Nate.
So we have a question. We're a supplement company from Donovan, if I'm pronouncing that right. We have scaled pretty quickly to 30K a month, but are facing delays in manufacturing. It looks like we run our products 2 weeks before a restock. What is the best strategy here so we can maintain? Obviously, you're working already on scaling inventory after this. A very simple way of putting that is your creatives are still there that are making you the sales on TikTok Shop. So if you, like, we buy out of inventory all the time on products and we just pick up where we left off. So yeah, definitely put your order in and and make sure you have correct stocks. You don't oversell, so you don't kill your shop score. And then at that point, wait for inventory to arrive and just resume where you left off. Like for now, you could start turning off your ads as you're running out, you're running low in stock, or you're out already. And then, you can even try some price raising strategies to slow down your sales. But in the end, there's a lot of ways or you can just sell out and just let it resume once you're back in stock. It's not like Amazon where it just kills everything once if you sell it on Amazon for 3 months, it's like game over, you lost all the product launch and all the ranking. TikTok will kind of just pick up a lot of the time. Sometimes the creative will be a little exhausted, but it'll still pick up.
Sean asked a question. He said, would you launch a new brand on TikTok or stick to Meta and Amazon first? So me personally, I would start at Amazon, of course, because that is your bottom of funnel. That's where people have their credit card in their hand. You can be optimizing daily and starting to build that kind of in the background. It's easy to go from, let's say, where we are now, and in 90 days kind of be a break even and start working towards profitability. But it'll always be whatever top of funnel platform that you use, whether it's Meta or TikTok, they will find you there. And so I think it's very important to do that one first. And then if I had to pick between Meta and TikTok, I think you're asking a biased audience, so I'm going to go with TikTok. But I'll say why though, because well, it has its own shopping cart. It has the ability to do subscribe and save. It's the fastest growing platform on the planet. I think that it is probably, and I think we're early too. So my answer is TikTok, 1,000%.
I do want to say, Eric, because we got about 10 minutes left. We're getting a lot of questions, and they're great questions. If you don't get your question answered because we run out of time, you can always book a call, and we'll be more than happy to meet with you for 15, 30, or 45 minutes and answer any questions on one-on-one.
And we're not going to sell you guys. I'm not interested in trying to sell you anything. You can just book a call and we can help you out. I mean, obviously, we're not going to manage your account for you for free, but we will give you guidance and advice and set you on your way if you're not qualified or are not interested in working with us. It's totally fine.
We don't also take everybody, right? So I mean, there's certain products that we're definitely interested in running, and certain other products that are a little bit tougher that we don't want to let anybody down, because after 3 months, it is what it is. So, but yeah, definitely, like, we're available for questions and call taking. Like, we've been through a lot of scenarios in the last 2 years on TikTok. Here's a great one I like from CJ. Do test run on GMV Max and affiliate videos that have not had sales yet for supplements. How to increase the affiliate sample rate request. Seems like a couple of questions in one. Seems very hard to get enough affiliates interested in being a supplement. So one, CJ, if you're in probation, then yeah, run GMV Max on a really low ROI target, like even 0.5, just to get this in. If you're not in probation, meaning your shop's well established, you've had enough orders, then I don't see a particular reason to run GMV Max. Like, I usually don't, unless I have a video that has organic sales. So I think Eric has a little bit of a different strategy, but that's how I usually do it. And then for increasing the sample video, the affiliate sample request rate, in the end, it's like email marketing. It's actually the closest thing that this relates to of getting affiliates is, like, are you good at SMS and email marketing? Because what you're doing is you're reaching out to affiliates with an opening, interrupting message. And how good are you at doing that? So if you have a really low opt-in rate, and you might also just have only 1,000 outreach, in which case, yeah, you're not going to get a lot, meaning you should do a Celico and get, $2,000 in GMV on an affiliate video you already have to get 7,000 reach out. So there's two different ways that can happen, but also if you have 7,000 reach out and you're still not getting a lot of sample requests, typically it's going to be your funnels that are just not well built to only get a 1% opt-in rate, or you're only trying to target L4 and L5 and nobody's opting. So, like, of course, like, you have to start with L1 first. If you do an L1 campaign, most likely you have a lot of sample requests, because L1s will kind of work with anybody to get off the ground. It's just like you will work with anybody to go.
One thing that I would add to that is that our job at an agency is not to know a strategy, but to know many strategies. Our job is to come up with the next idea, because every account is different. It has different issues. And what we do is we test. Everything is data driven, and we go through a series of solutions, and some work with you on the solution number 1, sometimes it's solution number 3, but we keep pushing until we get that virality and we get that breakthrough.
I just shared the FBT fees. For anyone here wondering about margins, you really can't figure out margins without looking at what FBT costs to fulfill, because a lot of the costs are in sampling. And if you're doing MCF or you're shipping yourself, TikTok might never be profitable. But if you go into FBT and take a look at that grid, I think everyone here that's on the call should click on that link that I just sent. Look at those fees, and you will probably see that a lot of them are half of what you're going to spend to ship out yourself or through an MCF, and that might make TikTok profitable for you.
Yeah, I'd like to share a quick anecdote. Most of the time when I meet with brands which want to work with us, we do a financial forecast, and we did this forecast for this brand. Her margins were pretty tight. She had to make $70,000 just to break even on TikTok Shop after all fees. But then once we plug in the FBT number, which was about $3 cheaper, from $750 down to $450, is switch it over to selling $25,000 a month to get to a break-even point. So it was a huge. So you definitely want to check out the FBT pricing and do your forecast with those numbers.
Yeah,
I want to make this really a quick point. A lot of companies actually are on TikTok because TikTok has two purposes. It is a profit center, or it's a top of funnel marketing center, right? So you can use it as a loss or as a break even, because there's so much spillover to Amazon, Shopify, email list building. Like, these are people, and this is where stores and retail stores, that retail buyers are specifically instructed to look at viral TikTok products to bring into their store, right? So you can use TikTok in many ways, but a lot of people want to use it like, am I going to be profitable on TikTok or not? Well, in the end, your business as a whole is, if you get the traction on TikTok, right? So that's why you want to look at it in two ways. Like, but of course, try to save profit and make more margin wherever you can. Like that's your job as a business owner for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, Tanner asked a question. She said, we're a skincare brand doing about 6.5 million a year on Shopify and just launched on TikTok shop days ago. I'm using Kruva to automate things, and we have 25 creators so far in our WhatsApp. Running our first contest right now, but having great engagement. What do you guys recommend I focus on most at this stage? What do you recommend that I focus most on at this stage? Wanting to get more on platform sales and reviews to build a brand on TikTok. So first of all, I highly recommend doing Celico, as he has the 40 to 6% review rate, which would definitely help your reviews. There is some other solutions with review syndication, which is a possibility. But when it talks about the games and the creator, so you have to understand that we are not in a brand market. We are in a creator's market. So there are more brands than there are creators. And so you have to essentially, you need to gamify everything. Everything on TikTok is gamification and getting their attention and engaging with them. And so you have 25 creators, something that gets them invited. Now, contest, a sale, a goal, but sometimes you need to get a little bit personal. And you also need to understand when you get them into the WhatsApp group. So typically I use a strategy where I use the CRM criteria from Kruva or from whatever. I put people that generated over a certain revenue to get them, making sure that I'm only getting VI creators into my group, and then I'm engaging with them and I'm letting them know the best videos. So I'm talking to them about what you do to make your video of the day. Right now, it's a lot of micro influencers, a lot of that just started becoming a creator last year, and they realized they had a knack for it. But in the day, they're not video experts. The more that you work with them and engage with them and build that relationship is how you'll get that growth. Now, I was to explain TikTok in a few words. It's basically creator management, and that's doing. If you would like, or want to talk about that a little bit further, shut down a little bit further.
Another question is, where do we find the creators? And I think this is just a high level overview, but we reach out to the creators via your TikTok shop. So earlier on in the slides, we covered reaching out to creators and outreach messaging limits. But in TikTok, we actually go into your accounts and we DM additional creators. And then upon that DM, we start DMing back and forth, which is we're doing direct messaging back and forth with the creator and getting, talking to them, collaborating with them, working out. They request a sample of the product through a sample portal in the TikTok Seller Center or Affiliate Center. And then we approve it. And then that means they connect to our account. And then now we can really have a lot of conversations with them and usually go, hey, let's resume this conversation on WhatsApp, right? And then we pull them off.
Yeah. One thing that I would add to reaching out to creators or finding creators, the answer is everywhere. So we use multiple platforms and different strategies. I'll go ahead and name drop a few because I know that it's our job is to give you some gems and get some value out of it. So we use platforms like Brand Needs Creator. We use platforms like Join Brands. We use platforms. I've used Kruva. I've used Yuka. There's Reacher. There's all kinds of things that help you do a better job. But ultimately, it comes down to creator discoverability. Our job is to try to find creators that resonate with our brand and do a good job of telling our story. And that is what we do every day. It is a constant, battle. So it's pretty much everywhere.
Sure. And then also in terms of profitability, a lot of people get this concerned about. I sent out so many samples. How am I going to be profitable? Well, sample scaling, like when you're actually sending out 15,000 samples a month at that level, you're making millions, right? So sample seeding is front loaded. So that cost of where you're not selling, but you're sample seeding is a front-loaded cost. And, the whole point of that sample seeding investment is to get you to the point of making enough sales. And typically then you have a sampling budget of a X% of your sales, right? Because you have a cost of goods. So your cost of goods plus shipping equals 10% or 20% of your sales. It's like an advertising cost. And then many times when a client is viral, sample seeding ends up being about 3 to 5% of sales. That's typically how it goes. It's very few. Almost every video that we pop off, everybody's copying each other and we'll get a viral video a day. So we don't need to go so heavy. And also remember, we don't have to work with L1s and L2s anymore as much as frequent when we're viral. So when you're really taking off, you can basically exclusively work with the creme de la creme creators, and they want to work with you too. And guess what? Most of their videos get impressions, and they also mostly post multiple videos because they might post a bad video and they'll post 2 or 3 more until they get a viral one. That's how L4 and L5 creators work a lot of the time.
That was an interesting point that you brought up, because a lot of people don't realize is that creators get messaged, probably the good ones at least, probably 10,000 times a day. And so they're not, it's not that they're not interested. Well, that's a part of it, but it's also that they don't even see your message, the good creators. So once you pass a certain level of sales and virality, you end up on their radar, and they start to come to you in a sense of like an open collaboration. And that's where you get the creators that are doing 900,000 a month, 600,000 a month. And you can move the approval criteria of your creators, like he was saying, up a little bit higher to maintain the quality of video and keep your costs lower.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think, I tell a lot of my brands that you get the creators that you deserve. So if you have a shop with 6 sales, you're offering a 15% commission, you got 2 reviews, you're not going to get a creator you don't deserve. But when that shop gets reviews, gets some sales, that's kind of why the Celico Launchpad is so popular, because it kind of seasons the shop, makes it look like it's doing better than it really is. Now you're going to get higher quality creators. What we typically see is after we have 1 or 2 videos that pop off and go well, I'm not talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, I'm talking more like tens of thousands of dollars. Within that same week, we start seeing, through open collaboration, creators that we never saw before. So before, maybe we saw creators coming in that were at $300 GMV, $800 GMV. Now we're seeing creators come in that are at $10,000 GMV, $15,000 GMV. So you get the creators that you deserve. And that's the hardest part of any cold start, is how in the heck do I get creators that are actually going to perform well for my brand? That is the chicken and egg $1,000,000 question. And for every project, every brand, it's kind of a unique poking and prodding and trying different things and different creative briefs and different hooks and doing anything we can with those L1s just to graduate into L2s. I hope that makes sense. I know it's not an exact science, but that's typically the kind of work it takes.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me go with Liz. You mentioned a TOP for setting up on TikTok Shop. Is it possible to set it up in UK as an authorized employee? They used to call it PAU. I'm not 100% about exactly your question, but I would recommend scheduling a call so we can go over a little bit more in depth. What should commission be in the first months? I would recommend, typically I like to start with, there's 3 commissions. So let's just break it down. We have target collaboration, open collaboration, and shops ad commission. Open collaboration is when they come to us. Target collaboration is when we go to them. And shops ad commission is when we spend ad revenue to boost a video. I like to start with maybe 20 to 25 on the target and maybe 15 on the open, and then like 10 on the shops ad commission. Now keep in mind, when you're reaching out to creators, you only have a few levers, and one of them is the percentage of your target collab. So you have 2, like I said, target collab percentage, and the other one is the criteria in which you approve. So those 2 metrics is things that you can play with, but it's important to use it, as it does have a lot to do with your margin. It needs to be done tactfully.
All right, we can do 2 more questions, and I'll send the link again here if you guys want to book a call, meet with us. Again, we're not going to pressure you. We're just going to answer your questions, give you all the information. We like to educate and show you what's successful. So, but we'll do 2 more questions and then we'll wrap it up. So
I'll answer one. I got
one. Did we get that one?
Yeah, I think we did. I think we got 10.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the next one that is a good topic is from Chesky. Please explain L1, L2, L3, L4. There are some charts you can get online, and I'll see if we can share those with you. Ernesto, if you could share with everybody.
I have one right here.
Yeah, if you could share that in the email follow-up. Basically, an L1 is someone who is getting
0 to 5K GMV range.
There you go.
And L2 is 5K to 20K. L3 is 20K to 50K. L4 is 50K to 150K. This is monthly. And then L5 is 150K.
Yeah. So that's why what you're dealing with a new shop is typically the L1s. And yeah, you could pay a retainer if you want, but we actually don't find that retainers increase quality. A lot of times retainers decrease quality because the person they're paid up front. So they're not really that incentivized. So if you can get an L1 community built up at commission only, you're going to get some winners in there. I mean, every single account we have right now that's now over $250,000 a month, every single one of them, bar none, we popped off with L1s. And then L2s came to the table, L3s came to the table, and the momentum didn't stop. So you really got to foster those L1s.
It varies, but we did have an account pop off with an L5 was the first part of it. Like an L5 actually came into the account.
I take it back. All but one, guys. I take it back.
So there are cases scenario, but like don't use, like I said earlier, don't use an L4 and L5 shops in probation. You're going to be disappointed, especially on a paid retainer. So if your shop's in probation, they're going to be disappointed. You're going to be disappointed. It's going to be a big heartbreak, and you might have ruined a great relationship, right? So I would wait until your shop's out of probation. Use L1s and L2s and Celico and GMV Max to get your shop out of probation, and then now work with an L4 and L5, and even throw in a couple of paid collabs in there. Like pepper them in, 1, 2, 3, a couple pay, a grand or 2 or 3 for a paid collab to get some of those L4, L5. Because L4, L5, by the way, they post quality videos. These are high follower accounts. These are like viral accounts. So even if they pay a few $1,000s, then if you can get one, that video is going to get traction. They always they do frequently, and they'll work with you to post again because they don't like the status of having a bad video profile. They'll delete it. They're very privileged in creme de la creme, and every video they have has to be performed. That's how a lot of these L5, unless they're a garage sale L5, which I can explain that in call. That's a different one. There are L5s that are not good quality, so you have to pick out of the crowd of L5s the best one.
Okay, last question. I think
one thing to that, Ian, if you don't mind.
Okay.
I would say just a little tip to stack on what SD said was that whenever you work with a paid collaboration with a higher creator, make sure to get them in your WhatsApp group. Don't let it go for nothing. Maybe they make a viral video and that's amazing, but don't let that relationship be lost. Make sure that they end up in the group. Maybe they win every contest for the next year, but you know what? You need that relationship. You need to make sure that they're in your group and they're part of your team going forward. So that's the one thing that I would add to that.
Okay, I think we are out of time. And we should close this out. It was a lot more. I think this was a lot more exciting than I even anticipated it would be. I enjoyed it. I think, and you guys did a great job. If everybody here, while I have the last 100 people here, please put in comment what you'd like to learn about next time. We want to do one webinar a month for you guys. Please let us know a single topic that is most important to you. Affiliates, okay? Ads, product, what type of product? Like I don't want to do webinars that no one cares about. So I got a couple ads here. Who else?
That's right.
Wow, a lot of ads. GMV Max, ads, affiliate. Ads, affiliate training, affiliate training. Okay. All right, cool. So I think in February, we're going to reach out to you guys either with ads or affiliate. You guys have spoken.
Combined, so it should be a combined one. Like ads are advertising affiliate videos.
Would you guys like it to be combined, or would you like 2 separate ones, an hour long each?
Combined.
Okay. Combined. Okay. Oh, separate. I think we're probably, I think we're going to go separate. Separate's winning. Separate's winning. Okay. I personally would rather do it separate. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to commit right now. We're going to do February. We're going to do affiliate outreach, how to build your own affiliate army. Okay. Would you guys like that for February? Okay. Let's do it. You guys are invited. Okay, good. All right, Ernesto, let's lock it in February. We're going to do an affiliate army webinar. Thanks for joining, guys. It was a lot of fun. And it looks like I'll see you all next month.
Thank you, guys.